Still 8 conference games, divisions are eliminated. They've jumped ahead a little bit here, but I do think this is important, okay? Logistics were a big deal with a 14-week season. So, as you're seeing here, a couple of things have already been revealed. Georgia at Texas, that game happening very early on. And then also Alabama at Oklahoma. This toward the end of the Sooners' first season in the SEC, hosting the Crimson Tide for the second time. They won 37-27 in 2002. So then on the Manning cast with Peyton and Eli, those a couple of SEC guys. So they got to reveal some games as well. And you see Ole Miss at LSU for that one on week 7. That's an opportunity for Ole Miss, already traveling there October 12th. That same week, it's a rivalry that we know really well and something that Peyton is very aware of too. Tennessee and Florida, another game that was revealed on the Manning cast. So you definitely want to circle that week as a great one. Tennessee, by the way, has 4 straight home games from October 12th to November 9th. More on that in just a little bit because we'll get to the entirety of the schedules as 2024 is approaching. On Good Morning America this morning, a monster matchup was announced. This is a rematch of this year's SEC championship. Georgia at Alabama. That's September 28th, which is week 5. So another opportunity for these two teams to meet in a very tough road test for Georgia, going to Tuscaloosa at that point. 7:30 Eastern on ABC. The Disney family of networks is going to have all of these games. It's going to be so much fun to watch between ABC and ESPN and, of course, all of the other networks, the SEC network as well. When you think about the games we've already seen, we're going to get to the rest of them in a little bit. But, Greg, what sticks out to you, maybe specifically that Georgia at Alabama?
It goes there. I mean, right now, those are the top 2 programs in the sport. Whatever order you have them in is perfectly fine. I personally might not necessarily always agree with the order that some have it in. I still think that Bama and Georgia are neck and neck. I might lean towards Bama just ever so slightly.
Just a little
what
bit.
they've done over the last 14 years. But I digress. I mean, the 2 top teams in the sport going to Tuscaloosa for that game, bragging rights on the line, national championship implications on the line, the possibility for a bye in the 12-team playoff, the possibility to get to the conference title game knowing that Georgia still has to go to Texas later in the season. So I think that game is pivotal, and every time they tee it up, it's a big one.
Yeah, where my mind goes is where could you have some favorable matchups in these schedules? And I think you look at Tennessee, you mentioned those home games, but also Ole Miss. Ole Miss has a very favorable schedule that's a lot easier than Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, and Florida. So both of those teams, they got a lot of players coming back. If you can fill in some of the right pieces, could one of them make a run?
Yeah, a lot of times it depends on who you have to play during your regular season.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen Alabama play Georgia in the last few years, and that's been a lot of talk is Georgia has avoided playing Alabama in the regular season. So have they had an easier path to get to the SEC championship game? Well, now we get to see that game during the regular season, and we might see it again in the SEC championship game. Yeah,
the way these were set up, Paul, there are 2 byes for every team in this new schedule. What sticks out to you with the games that have already been revealed, Paul?
Laura, I've spent a lot of time covering the Iron Bowl, Alabama versus Auburn, and the idea that Alabama has to go to Oklahoma the week before as opposed to playing Mercer or some other cupcake is extraordinary, and I'm sure it will give Nick Saban heartburn tonight.
Give me something I can feel. Like